Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, I get a 3-knife haul from Shield and Knives. Some interesting stuff there. We take a look at this month's Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife, a very generous donation to the channel from Northern Knives. Can't wait to show you that. Northern Knives and Colorful Filth. And then he put the Benny in Benny's clip. Ben Belkin is going to be joining us to talk about the new Benny's clip, but also a very exciting development with Jack Wolf Knives that I want him to talk about here. If you've looked at all at the new knives coming out, you might spot something different, and then you might look closer at that thing that's different, and you might discover something even more different. So it's pretty cool. We're going to talk about that. How's it going, Marco? Hey, Bob and Knife Junkies, he says. Well, hello to you, sir. Good to have you here. Have a nice day. Nice to have you. Good evening, Junkalos, he says. I was going to wear my Have a Nice Day shirt tonight, but you know what? It makes me look too muscular. So I dropped it. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually put on a little weight towards the end of the summer. We were indulging a lot, and now I'm moving into an aesthetic phase, and I will be able to wear my Have a Nice Day t-shirt in probably 2 weeks and feel comfortable in it. Sword XXXY, good to have you here. Good day, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Well, good day to you, sir, all the way from Australia. OG Blades, good to have you here. Dave, evening, Junkies, and Ace of Blades. Bob, I like that. I like that. Ace of Blades. Doug Bowl, nice to have you here, sir. Salutations, Bob, Jim, and the gang. Doug, I read your email today, which you sent, I think maybe yesterday, through Patreon, and I have had a number of those type of people on the show, but I have 2 new leads, and you will not be disappointed. So you know what I'm talking about, and our guests will find out shortly. Craig Vincent, nice to have you here, Craig. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and folks. Folks. Good to have you here, Craig. James Moore, nice to have you here. Happy Thursday, all, he says. Well, happy Thursday to you, my friend. Have a Nice Day says, been carrying the Spyderco Uliza lately. Excellent choice. Was working at a screen print shop in Los Angeles. I remember why I didn't like leaving the AC. 99 outside and 110 inside. Jeez, man. That's searingly hot. And the coffee's pretty hot too. But the Uliza, I love that knife. It reminds me of the kind of swords I have up on the wall with the recurves and the sort of Filipino influence. So I have a couple of things on the table. Speaking of recurves, and speaking of Dave of OG Blade Reviews, I have this beauty out tonight to start the show off. This is the kukri. Made by the Smiths at Traditional Filipino Weapons. This was a very generous birthday gift from Dave of OG Blade Reviews. Dave, thanks again, always, with this gorgeous Camagong handle. I love this hardwood. I have a couple of sticks made of this material, and it's super dense and heavy, and man, you would not want to get hit with one of those. Certainly would not want to get hit with one of these either. This is a proprietary blend of D2 blade steel, and I believe it was 52-100 that the Smiths down there in the Philippines use. This blade is awesome. A really nice representation of the type. I really like it, and I like that they kept the traditional handle. Traditional Filipino weapons have really cool handles, and by that I'm not meaning the brand name now. I'm meaning just in general. These kind of weapons have really cool handles, very interesting and intricate pommels, and that's always been a big turn on. Daniel Reche Forjas Dare. I'm going to call you Daniel. Nice to have you here. Salutos, colega. I'm so sorry. I just butchered your beautiful language, but it's nice to have you here, Daniel. Have a Nice Day says, knives and men with bellies, both dangerous and capable. That's right, sir. That's right. The old man strength. Split and Slices. Nice to have you here, Byron. Hi, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Thursday Night Knives. Got a great chance to meet Ben Belkin at River's Edge. Awesome. Thanks for the Jack Wolf Knives lineup. That's River's Edge over there in Ohio. My where I grew up and still love going back to visit. Isaiah Ramirez, nice to have you here, Isaiah. Do you have book recommendations for someone getting into books. Yes, I do. I love the book Blood Meridian, and it's one I just finished reading for the umpteenth time. That is really excellent. It's if you want something kind of heavy, kind of dark, not heavy necessarily. Well, yeah, there's some very heavy scenes, but dark tale of from the Old West and the South and into Mexico, an American scalping party of real ill repute, and it follows their exploits, and it's dark but beautifully written and very simply written by Cormac McCarthy. I also love and read like every couple of years Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. Love him. He's awesome. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't read anything by him, definitely read that book. Isaiah says, I meant knives. Oops. Oh, all right, there we go. Well, you got my book recommendations. Yeah, knives. Well, I mean, okay. I always recommend Cold Steel. So if you're looking for big bang for your buck, strong, strength to. Sorry, I got to do everything. This hand, I'll tell you about it later. Strength to dollars, Cold Steel are hard to beat. So if it's something you plan on thumping on, or carrying for end of the world and self-defense, that kind of thing, I would suggest a Cold Steel. A Voyager is a great choice, but also the Code 4 is nice and slim, with an aluminum handle, but it has all the same strength qualities and that kind of thing. If you're looking for folders, also if you're looking for fixed blades, and are willing to spend, well, if you're looking for fixed blades that you're willing to spend a little more money on, this is where I would say look at custom knives. There are so many great makers making great knives that are affordable, like this Knives by Nuge primitive wicket. I've been carrying this thing since I got it at Blade Show. Wasn't actually expecting. I wanted to have something from him because I interviewed him, and I threw it around my neck, and it hardly came off this summer. I still carry it a lot. I even carry this one next to the skin, which is very rare for me, and a neck knife. So I love this thing, and for under $200, you could be supporting a local maker, local to someone in this country or whatever country you're in. So I'd start in the Cold Steel range, but there's so many others, and you'll see them as we talk here. Robert Strebin, hello, Bob, Jim, and all you junkies out there. Robert, nice to have you here, sir. It's a nice night here in Central Illinois where I live. It's beautiful here too. It was kind of breezy, and just like it's like how you hear Northern California is all year long. It was like cool and like mid to high 70s and just crystal clear and beautiful. Stephen Clayton Jr., nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, everyone, he says. Good evening to you. He's our resident TKL Knives aficionado, and talking about what knives you might be interested in getting, and if you want to spend a little bit more money, like in the 200s, TKL knives, oh man, they cannot be beat. I love the TKL knives, and as you know, I co-designed this with Tim Kell. It started the Agent 001 series from a design I sent him, and it is my favorite. I've been carrying it. I've been carrying this all summer long, especially the one with the purple handle. I have a couple of them. Highly recommend this, and you're supporting a great guy and his family. It's a family business, and well, everyone participates, but you're supporting local Georgia knife makers. So hey, there you go. Angry Tom's Hat Next Door. Nice to have you here, Angry Tom. Hi, Bob. Got my new Finch 1929 abalone scales. It's nice. I really like the 1929. I used to call it a little folding Hudson Bay knife, but it is a spay blade, right? It's a little folding, flipping spay blade. I love that knife. And with the abalone, that's cool. Mine is in that red worm, what is that? Red Nightcrawler jig bone from the first release of that. Very excellent knife. Congratulations on a nice purchase there. All right. Well, that said, let's get to a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
I'm going to do this with the left hand because my right thumb is compromised. And it's an embarrassing tale, which I will spare you all. But today in my front right pocket, I had the Emerson Sax. Here, let me get this pesky kukri out of the way. I love this thing. And very nice sheath on this, by the way. And I like how it fits in there a little bit better than the traditional sheaths that I have experienced. It fits more like a Filipino sheath with the wood that it kind of like fits loosely in, so you can draw it quickly. But I've seen Steve Price draw his kukris lightning fast. So and he's got a lot of cool traditional kukris. So anyway, today was the Sax, the Emerson Sax, and now I'm carrying this because I have a jacked up thumb, and I don't necessarily have all the feeling in my thumb right now. We're gonna go see a doctor about that tomorrow. The emergency room had much bigger fish to fry when I went in, let's say. But this, I don't have to worry about flipping or anything. I just pull this out and it opens up, and it's pretty tactile, with that high traction G10. So I had that on me today. I had this beautiful new knife. We're going to be talking all about this with Ben. This one, however, I have to open quite cautiously in my enfeebled state. But look at this beautiful thing. This is the Jack Wolf Knives Benny's Clip, second iteration or second release of this beautiful knife. Also, having just gotten the folding locking treatment in the Benny right here. One of my most carried recently. Let me open this beautiful, beautiful knife. Purple Kieranite. This is my first time with purple anything on a Jack Wolf, and I love it. And it's purple Kieranite. Kieranite, a modern material, but what can we say? Traditional on traditional style knives. Modern meaning like from, I don't know, the early 1900s, the early 20s, I guess. Like, what are you talking about? I think it was the 1920s, maybe, when this came out. I think. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do know it's been around a long time. Not in this stabilized a form, though. I do know that modern Kieranite, and Kieranite is a registered trademark, but this kind of material has gotten more stable over the years. You may have old knives from your grandpa, say, with Kieranite that has shrunk and sort of curled up and pulled away. That's not going to happen with this modern stuff. Beautiful black. I love the not black, charcoal hardware, those screws. And then you have a triple fluted elongated bolster compared to the first one. And then this horizontal hand rubbed satin is just, man, it's so nice. And this is wickedly sharp. I opened it was a bag of trail mix, but this is a real test because there's a seam on the backside of the trail mix, and I always go at the seam so that if the knife is dull, the seam opens up and it jacks up the whole cut. And it's a good indication for me if something is sharp. I know there are other more, high speed, low drag ways of telling, but that's one way I like to tell. And this zipped through it. It didn't even fold back that little flap, which is really good. This thing is extremely sharp, but I mean, that's what you get every time with a Jack Wolf. This is an S90V blade, and of course it came with the beautiful leather slip. And I will let Ben correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that if you buy this from the Jack Wolf Knives website, you might just have a beautiful custom different leather slip in your future. And this was not a matchy decision. This again was a decision out of need because of my injury. But I figured this would be the easiest one for me to grab, and it's small enough handle wise that I can kind of wrap it in my fingers and not have to engage this part of my thumb too much, because when I do, it is the most electric shock of searing red hot pain. Yeah, not good. I'm getting feeling back in the tip of my thumb that am happy about. I still, if I bump it, it's like, it's terrible. I jumped up and down in front of colleagues. It was so terrible, and I felt like an idiot. This one really grips well in the hand for me, and testing it. Well, Tim Kell, who really brought this handle to its final state and made it so nice. He's got bigger hands than I do, and moved the choils around and made it comfortable for him. And it, by gum, it's comfortable for me too, and everyone else who seems to carry that knife. But for me, it was the reinforced thumb and the ability to curl it into my hand. And then today I was showing you this. I had this on me for emotional support. This was more just near me. This is the 5.5-inch Voyager XL with the serrations and the hollow ground Tanto blade. These serrations make the knife a chisel grind. So, I mean, these things are tremendously sharp. Very, nice handle. The serviceable, excellent handle. I say those two things, and serviceable is kind of different from excellent, but I guess I mean serviceable in terms of material. It's not a very luxurious material, but it's perfect for what it is. A great knife. And if you're a backpacker, I am not. I will preface this by saying I am not, but I think that the large Voyagers, which are nice and light and 5.5 inches, and then when you have it open and you're back in this portion, it makes it a pretty long knife. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Makes it about a 8.5-inch blade when you have it like this. Well, they also make larger blades than this, and they're light and they're thin and they fold and they have these super ultra strong locks. What I'm trying to say is if you're a backpacker, it makes sense to get one of these giant cold steel knives, drop it in your backpack, and it can be like your small machete. Instead of carrying, machete, or maybe in addition, I just think it'd be an awesome idea. Let me know what you think. Kilkenny, good to have you here, Kilkenny. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Kilkenny, it's great to have you here, sir. All right, this is what I was carrying on me. Tell me what you guys had on you. I feel like I had something else. I probably did, but it's not in my list. So I have a whole bunch of stuff I've been carrying around because a couple of companies have sent me stuff recently. So this, of course, has exquisite walk and talk. You'll notice the jacked up way I had to hold it. It's how I feel comfortable right now. What was that comment about the mini Pendleton Hunter? Craig Vincent says, Bob, today I added a Pendleton mini Hunter to my cold steel lineup. That is a beautiful little blade. And I know that they did the mini Hunter, and then they did like a fancy version at one point of the Pendleton Hunter. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's pretty cool. Will B says, hey, Bob, Jim, and junkies. I'm late. Will B, better late than never. And believe me, I'm married into a late family. Let's just say that. They're awesome, awesome, awesome people. I wouldn't want to be married into any other family, but they're late. Isaiah Ramirez says, how does one use a knife with no lock if it's a small task for? I got to amend that last statement. I don't mean to throw my family under the bus here. It's actually, they've gotten quite good. Even my wife has. This is for future reference when people listen to this. Thank you. Isaiah says, how does one use a knife with no lock? Is it for a small task? Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, Isaiah, I'm not sure what you're doing. Like if you have a job like you might see Scab from Choir Boys Cutlery, he's got a job where he's cutting sandblasting hose, and he uses a bunch of knives during his day for like really hard stuff. But he's even done these carrying just slip joints, or not carrying just slip joints, but carrying like a Rosecraft slip joint, using it for all this hard stuff and not sharpening it, and seeing how robust it is. And these modern made lock-free slip joint knives, and I can speak from experience with Jack Wolves, are as robust as folders get. They just don't have the locks. So everything about them except the downward force on the spine of the blade are as robust as any modern made folder. But if you're a fixed blade guy, I could see how getting your mind around that it would be difficult. But it's you just have to be careful that not to get your blade snagged in some material that is going to fold the knife as you withdraw it, and you're not paying attention. Not paying attention is always an issue. Angry Tom says, I also have my little Rough Rider slide lock, no clip. Rough Rider, what is it? The 2594 and my Kaiser variable slide lock. So that's one of their modern ones then, I presume. Doug Bull says, Bob, as my dad used to say, you'll feel better once it quits hurting. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I like that. Oh, that thumb hurts? How about this one now? Now that other thumb doesn't hurt so much. That was my grandpa's wisdom. Yeah, I like that. Stephen Clayton says, Rem Alliance, Scourge, the TKL Agent 001, 002, 003, the Raider, Taylor's Ridge, Combatant, TS-87, 2 FLNs, the Guardian, the Night Guard, holy mackerel, the Night Guard 2.0, the Night Stalker Combat Grade, the Gideon V3, the Piranha. So those are all your TKLs on you. And then the Wingard Wearables Micro Dick Pick plus the Crudo SD. I think that's the snag bit, right? The SD5. Wait, don't get rid of this yet, Jim. The Agent 001, the 002, the 003, the Raider, the Taylor's Ridge, the Combatant, the TS-87. That's the tactical screwdriver. The FLN. That's this one right here. 2 of them. The Guardian. That's 10. The Night Guard. The Night Guard 2.0. The Night Stalker Combat Grade, the Gideon V3, and the Piranha. Around, not around like approximately, but a rounded out 15 TKL knives. That is pretty awesome. You've got the Rem Alliance Scourge, so that's 16, plus the Crudo, that's 17, and then the Micro Dick Pick from Wingard Wearables is basically a blade. Well, no, it's another implement of chaos, just not quite a knife, but right at home next to the knives. This is the long finger of the EDC world. Well regulated says, oh, I see the V44X pommel. Oh, yes, you do, and you're the guy who designed it. Oh man, okay, let me pull this out. I absolutely love this knife, sir. Here, let me put this away so as I don't stab myself again. Yeah. So I absolutely love the V44X. I did not cut myself on the knife. I hit the nerve. I love that. That's fun. Okay, so here it is. This is so beautiful. This is well regulated. And I'm sorry, sir. I don't remember your name, but I will shortly. This is his take on the Marine Raider Bowie. And I have a couple of different versions of this, like for instance, the SP10 from Ontario Knife and Tool. And then I have the V40 or the V44 from Bark River Knives. That's a beautiful one with a Moran style handle, which is kind of similar. I wish I had that. I wish I had it out. Similar in a way. But man, I got to say, this handle is a little bit longer than expected, and I really like it. Or I should say, my hands have found 3 great spots on this handle. Up here in this super comfortable choil. I'll do this with my left hand. Super comfortable choil. And by the way, very politely knocked off the edges here so that if you are up in the choil and you're bearing down, it's not gonna wear on the web of your thumb there. And also, when you just have your thumb there, it's not going to be sharp. But then the rest of the spine is a very sharp 90 degrees for your ferrocinium rods, etc. So that's grip number 1. And then you come back here. Oh, by the way, this is Work Tough gear. I know you guys know it, and I've been showing it off, but I didn't properly introduce it. And then for me and my medium-sized hands, I get a really nice grip right up front, up next to this quillion, and then coming back here for swinging around and chopping. And I got to say, I've done a lot of, certainly with the door locked and no one coming in, a lot of swinging this around and doing carenza and shadow boxing with a blade, as you might do. And that thing is so nicely balanced. It's lighter than you would expect, and it moves beautifully. I love that knife. So thank you for commenting on seeing it, and always happy to pull it out. And who was I think Scab showed different scales. I know this comes in a couple of different scales. Doug Bowl says, Bob, I ordered the K-Bar X. Oh, I love X. Number 4 Commando today. So that's that's funny. But that's the dagger, and I love that. And I love the way it has the S-Guard quillions, which you frequently see on the V44. They're a version of that. Yeah. But that Ek, very sweet. I love, I happen to have this out. This folder, this integral folder with the John Eck with that handle. That's, a very signature shape. And then the blade, and this is that collaboration between Les George and Alan Elishowitz. Integral handle, my first integral handle. Will B says, Hinderer XM24 battle. Oh, first of all, Will, you weren't that late. Will B says, Hinderer XM24 battlefield pickup Sponto, Demco 8020S, Microtech Amphibian, the Wee Ziphius. That's a beautiful one. I love that. Microtech Hera 2, the Off-Grid Stinger XL, another awesome knife. The TKL Knives Night Stalker CQC, Microtech SOCOM Alpha. I don't know what that is. SOCOM Alpha. Olight Baton 3 and the Heretic Thoth pen. Thoth. It's that gets me every time. Sorry to be a broken record, but Thoth. I'll have my spaghetti with some Thoth, and I'm not making fun. I have my own issues. Okay, 5-door. Good to have you here, 5-door. Today's carry, Edgy Blade Works, Astral, and GEC 12. Oh, the Edgy Blade Works. Yeah. I love that blade shape. That is such a cool blade shape. And GEC 12 toothpick pattern. That's a pretty sweet one. I do love the toothpicks. I like the case has been doing the medium toothpick lately. Medium. OG Blade Review says LT knives and we result button lock. LTK. Oh, not LT. Yeah. Love them knives and we result button lock. That's a nice big knife. The Viper Handy Fixie. The TKL Knives Agent 003 with the beautiful Night Stalker blade. That's a nice looking one. The CRKT Redemption. The Kunwu Pulsar XL. Oh, that's beautiful. Loving the Kunwu knives. And is it Kunwu who made this one? I think it might be Kunwu, or I think it's Kunwu. Anyway, Shieldin Rev Proto by DC Knives and Nightcore. And Nightcore P31. The Shieldin Rev Proto by DC Knives. If that's the one is that the one I've had here? Or is that the clip point? I don't know. I love everything that that Justin designs, Justin of DC Blades, and he's also Tier 1 Gear Reviews on YouTube. I love his designs, and he's got some really cool stuff coming out like in all different stages of development, as they say. 5-door says, also got a Cold Steel Counterpoint XL for $40. Huge win, pun intended. Well, that's a nice one, man. The Counterpoint. Oh, Counterpoint. That's the dagger-ish one with the thicker handle. Nick EDCer says, hey, junkies, Bob and Jim. Well, Nick EDCer, pleasure to see you back here, man. Doug Bowl says, Bob, your injury is exactly where the Sidewinder jumped up and bit me. Took 4 stitches and still have some nerve down. Oh, shit. Had to take 2 weeks off from copping it. Oh, that sucks. Still have some nerve damage there, huh? Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I can still feel, but I can't tell how much pressure I'm exerting on things as much, and it's it's weird. It's weird. And I chose to go that because it was right before dinner, and I was like, I am so hungry. So I went the super glue route because it didn't bleed much. That area, these web parts, I split this once. Just spread the fingers and split that once. It was terrible. But it was terrible because it was gross looking, but it didn't hurt that much, and it definitely did not bleed that much. Neither did this one, but I wish it did. In retrospect, I'd rather lose the blood because I could work with that, but I can't work with nerve damage. Jesse says, evening all concept, evening to you, Jesse. Concept Egress, a beautiful knife designed by Niche Designs, a Nick of Niche Designs, Matriarch 2, and the Mini Champ Swiss Army knife. Mini Champ, that's one of the 84 millimeter, right? Knives are life. Couldn't agree more with you, sir. Good to have you. Howdy, sir. Hope all is well. New breed, thank you. All is well with me. Hope all is well with you, sir. New breed Clydesdale and my Kubi Wrath Karambit. Very cool. So the Kubi's got some cool stuff. I know Dave has shown off a Karambit. They sent me this, the Hound. Also a Max, I shouldn't say also, but a Max Chuk design, and I love his designs. I know Dave does too. He's got I don't know if it's a conscious collection, but I know I've seen you show off a bunch of his stuff. Really nice stuff coming out of Kubi, and I got to say, this sliding bar lock, they do it very well. They do it very, very well. Split and Slices says, Carry now is the Rosecraft Briar Patch Jack. That's a nice one. I'm loving everything that came up. I couldn't keep up, but I love all of the new. They probably have 5. Pardon me. They probably have 5 new slip joints that have come out since I got my last one from them. So I'm way behind. Rosecraft Briar Patch Jack, and a copy of Camping and Woodcraft by Horace Kephart, 1921. How cool! Oh, that's nice. You just kick him back with your Briar Patch Jack and reading that book. That's cool. I watch videos of people camping. I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna go camping instead of watching videos. Ginger Fisher 75. Nice to have you here, Ginger. Ginger Fisher. Evening, folks, he says. Well, evening to you and your cute little hound. Super Beast. Nice to have you here, Super Beast. What's up? Well, what's up with you, sir? Do you have any K-bar blades? I do. I've got a couple of K-bars on the wall. Well, I have one K-bar on the wall. I have a really awesome one from 1991. It was a reissue from from the World War II design. I'm going to put a knife down and I'm going to go grab it just so I can show you. Since we were talking about this, I'm going to put this here. Pipe Smoking Trapper. Nice to see you. I'll be right back. This one is tremendous. I love this. This was a gift from my brother. As a matter of fact, all 3 of the K-bars I have, 2 of them are historical examples, and one is a historical recreation by K-bar themselves. That's the one I'm going to show you. They all came from my brother, who's given me some of the greatest knives in my collection over the years. Pipe Smoking Trapper says, evening all, my first Knife Junkie live. Awesome. Good to have your Pipe Smoking Trapper. Interesting thing about pipe smoking, since you mentioned it, is that when I was talking with when I was at the Texas Custom Knife Show, I saw people smoking pipes, and I saw plenty of young guys smoking pipes, and I was like, yeah, I should smoke a pipe. And I came back and I got a corncob pipe. I know. I need to get a briar pipe. And I got some really nice tobacco. We have a great cigar and pipe shop around here. And I got some really nice tobacco. And I smoked it a little bit. And I was like, I really need to invest in the pipe. And then I don't want to say I lost interest, but I guess it started getting warmer and I was less apt to go out and smoke it. And maybe it's a seasonal thing, but My dad used to smoke pipes only every once in a while, and I loved them. He smoked this stuff called Belkin Sobrenny, which when I mentioned it at the pipe shop, they're like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, man, can I have some?" They're like, "No, no one can. You can't find that stuff." And it used to be you could easily, because I used to buy it in college. Anyway, Nick EDCer says, I got cargoes on today, so carry is heavy. Skeletool CX, small and cozy. Wait, Skeletool? Okay, sorry. Small and cozy, love that knife. Case Barlow, and that one. JW Fix EDC, JW Venom. Okay, Jack Wolf Fix EDC, Jack Wolf Knives, Venom Jack, Jack Wolf Mini Cyborg. You came to the right place, man, because Ben is going to be joining us. And a PD1. Oh, okay. Delica in PD1 steel with the Jack Wolf Gunslinger Jack. Okay, that PD1 steel, that's the one, that's the maroon and black, right? I want to get that in the police model. And the Gunslinger Jack is incredible. I have a host of Jack Wolves out that I want to talk about when he comes on. The SOCOM Alpha says will be is the fixed blade with the little over 5-inch blade. Okay, mine is DLC with carbon fiber handles. Will, this is the one that has the jimping like on every possible handle surface, right? And not, I shouldn't say that, but the jimping kind of circumnavigates the whole tang. Well, I guess it doesn't circumnavigate, but it goes around the whole tang, stops at the blade, obviously. Timothy Chadwick, nice to have you here, Timothy. Hello, Bob, Jim et al. Today's carry, Benchmade Sock P Dagger and Philo Blade Works Halcyon or Halcon. Halcyon? Wait, what is Philo Blade Works? I feel like I follow him on Instagram. Or yeah, I think I do. Timothy, anyway, nice to have you here with us. Mattisfaction, also a pleasure to have Matt with us. Hello, all, he says. Well, hello right back at you, sir. Excuse me. Dave says, Bob, can we compare thumb scars? My CMC joint surgery is still healing 8 months later. Yowza. That's funny because I talked to my dad, who's a former physician, and he's the guy who's like, no, don't be a knucklehead. Go to the ER and then go to a hand specialist. And so that's basically what I'm doing. But he was like, you're going to find, Bob, now that you're in your 50s, the healing comes slower. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, I noticed. I noticed already. I used to be like Wolverine. It's like cut and it would like seal right up. Not anymore. Craig Vincent says 8010 XL holdout. I do love that. The XL and L Voyager drop point. Very nice. I like that. I wish they all had jimping like the drop point does. The SR1 Light Tonto, my backpack knife. The S35VN Bush Ranger, Black Talon 2 serrated, G10 Verdict Tonto, Lucky 2 slip joint, and QSP Hedgehog. So definitely a Demco / Cold Steel devotee or fan, if you will. Randy Clendenin. Randy, nice to have you here. Clendenin. Scottish? Hello. Hope all is well with everyone and everything. Be safe and take care. God bless. Sincerely, Randy. Well, God bless you, Randy. And thank you for joining in. Let us know what you're carrying. If you're about to dip, let us know what you're carrying before you do. Hey, Ben, how's it going, sir?
Doing great today, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. It's very nice to see you. And I got to say, man, again, you have knocked it clear out the park. Before we get to that, I promised I would show off this K-bar. Let me show this K-bar off. And it is a pretty sweet one. This was given to me by my brother in 1991. And it has, this was based, it also came with the blueprint based on the K-bar's 1942 design, I guess. And it's got a sharp wedge, which is so awesome. Great knife. Highly recommend. Everyone should probably have a K-bar somewhere, in their house, next to the bed, in the truck, whatever it is. K-bar is definitely somewhere you want to start with fixed blades. So Ben is going to be releasing, Ben and Jack Wolf Knives, you're going to be releasing the new Benny's clip on next Friday. And let me pull this out.
I'm all here.
Oh, you got them all there. Let's break them out. Let me show mine off again real quick under my knife cam. This beautiful thing that you sent me, thank you so much. I am loving it. The purple Kieranite is, you've put it on a couple of other knives so far, and it's always definitely like turned my head. And I think it's really beautiful next to the blasted titanium and then that hand rubbed satin blade. Tell us about what's different with this Benny's clip from this Benny's clip. And by the way, the pull, I will say, on the new one is stouter. I can feel that.
Right. So yeah, that would be the only non-cosmetic change. Would be we stiffened up the pull a little bit, maybe like 1 to 1.5, on the scale of 10.
Yeah.
And then, there's really not too much you can do to change up the Lanny's clip and still call it a Lanny's clip, or in this case, the Benny's clip. So there is the triple fluted bolster, which is something we've been doing on most of our releases now. But other than that, it's 2 years later. And if you like the first one, you'll like this one.
No doubt. And so this first one is very personalized because I dyed the black micarta that deep maroon, and I don't know, I bonded with it in doing that. It's very easy to do on the micarta handles because of the how easy it is to take these scales off. But yeah, so this is your one knife that you don't have a full height hollow grind. Why is that?
That's right. And that's just to keep the Lanny's clip design elements in place. So, for anybody who's unfamiliar with the Lanny's clip, it's one of the more modern, recognizable slip joint patterns. And it was designed by Tony Bowes, who is known as the old dog. He kind of brought back a resurgence to a degree in the appreciation of some of these older patterns, but on the custom level, like he was a custom builder. And I think he also shared a lot of his knowledge with other budding makers. So he's just really well respected in the community, but I digress. So at some point, I don't know the year, someone else can fill us in because I'm sure we got some history buffs in there, but at some point he designed that knife for a friend of his named Lanny, and they called it the Lanny's clip. And it's going to be characterized more or less by that inward curving handle, similar to what you'd see on like a trapper, and the clip point blade with the saber grind and the nail nick, crescent nick in the flat. And they could be flat ground, the bevel, but a lot of the custom guys do hollow grinds, and that's one of the reasons all my stuff has hollow grinds, is because I think it's like a nicer touch that you find on the more expensive customs. So yeah, that's why it has a saber. That's why it looks like a Lanny's clip. I have slightly different proportions than Tony's, and I try to make these patterns my own.
How did you change the proportions from the original?
So I'll call it wider handle, like from spine to blade well, from back spring to blade well, it's wider. And so that width carries through across the handle. And then Tony's, and that also translates to the blade. And I'd have to look at one of Tony's, but I really drew out the snout of the blade and a more upswept belly. It's just little things, but tried to give it a little bit of my own stylistic interpretation.
Yeah, I love the way that clip point comes. You're talking about the way it just kind of right there at the tip kind of ascends, and then you have that nice long clip with the beautiful swedge. Man, yeah, I'm loving this knife. There's something about the Lanny's clip, and I'm not sure if it's the size of it, which is basically it's like not that much bigger than all your other knives, but it still feels bigger in a way, bigger, more chunky.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
there's more to it. So it just feels like a beefier knife without being beefy. If you were to put this up to a little bro, they're not in the same size category, but dimensionally, oh, okay, the handle on this thing is a half inch longer, but that doesn't really tell the tale, you
Yeah.
know? Um,
Well,
this
funny
is
you
a
should mention.
robust blade. Oh, yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah, it is a robust blade, and the handle. I think the dimension this way on the handle is definitely something that makes it feel like it's kind of almost bigger than it actually is. And now I'm going to attempt to do this with my thumb, and then you add the Benny in there,
Mhm.
and that's the full. Well, that's not the family. That's not part of the family, but that's an extended part of the family, of course. But look at that.
Yeah. And one thing I forgot to mention now that I'm looking at the screen here, I did enlarge the sharpening choil a little
Mhm.
bit
Yep.
on the second run. And then, of course, we're S90V now instead of M390. Those
Yeah.
would be the other changes.
So I know it's more available, right? S90V is just more available.
Um, I'm not 100% sure if that is always the case. I do know that I switched because, truthfully, let me just start by saying I'm not the steel guy. That's
Mhm.
not me.
Yep. Yep.
I find all these modern steels to exceed my needs under 100% of all circumstances for me.
Yeah.
And I don't get super excited about that side of our hobby. I don't begrudge anyone for it. I don't dislike it. It just doesn't get my juices flowing.
Yeah.
But I do understand that people want the appropriate steel for the intended use of the tool. And so M390, I felt met that need. But at the same time, there was just so much of it out there,
Mm.
rightly so, because it's a good pocket knife steel. But I make knives for collectors, and collectors like to have some variety in their collection. And that's what really got me looking at what else would be suitable for these, because the guys have a lot of M390 in their collection. What else might they want? And doing the research, S90V really made a lot of sense to me from kind of lay terms. It's like, okay, great corrosion resistance, amazing edge retention, not as tough, but it's like, okay, well, this isn't designed for toughness. This is
Yeah.
designed for slicing. And, we've done now, gosh, it was January 2023 when we switched. So it's
Oh,
getting, almost be 2 years before we know it of using S90V, and like people love it.
yeah. I mean, it's great. And like you, I never even, I haven't had to sharpen any of my Jack Wolf knives yet, honestly, because of just how I use them. I haven't used them for anything. I remember when the Pioneer came out, Pioneer Jack. I'm like, okay, this one I'm hard using, and I used it for cardboard, and then I'm like, wait a sec, I've been sitting on these other ones, and so I started using those all for cardboard. I'm like, all right, these are great. I don't know, for some reason, well, because they're precious to me, I kind of treated them with kid gloves, but you don't have to, and they clean up nicely.
Absolutely. I think geometry is as important or even more important than what type of steel's on the knife. Like, you could have poor geometry with a really high quality blade steel, and you can only cut as good as the geometry of that blade.
Yeah.
Versus, let's say, 1095 super thin ground, and even though you might lose that really keen edge, just the geometry of it alone is going to provide less resistance and friction going through material. So my knives are designed to try to have both, which is really good edge geometry and premium material. Now, this knife, the Benny's clip, this is going to have a small sacrifice in edge geometry for robustness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got some knives that are so thin, you could bust them, if you were being real tough with them. You'd probably really have a hard time breaking this blade under any imaginable circumstance. So it's nice to have a couple kind of hard use models in the catalog, and this is absolutely one of them.
Well, the saber grind just adds to the stoutness of the spine of the blade, and the whole thing, the height of it, and the engagement with the bolster on the tang, it's all a little bit bigger and just okay. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the dark matter red. I want to talk about a couple of things and really exciting developments with this latest model. But I want to get to some comments that have come in, people saying hi to you and such. So oh, look at that. You got nice. Jim, you got any comments? I know I shuffled a bunch off, and I wanted to acknowledge a few people here. If not, we'll move on. But something that you were just holding up is the dark matter red version of that knife, and I have the dark matter red version of the Venom, and I gotta say, this one really took me by surprise. That the combination of the carbon fiber with the dark wash bolsters, and then that acid wash blade, that combination is just crazy. Super Beast says yo, and I think he's saying yo to you. So
Sub Super Beast. Yeah, Bob, isn't that cool? Now look at the difference between the blade geometry on that thing and this.
Oh yeah.
You know, that one is your utility cutter extraordinaire, where the Benny's clip is your, you know, more rugged sort of, you know, if I worked on a farm and I was cutting into like concrete sacks and, you know, like having to like cut vines or something, I'd want something like this.
Yeah.
You know, you could definitely skin with this. You have that nice, like long swedge for your finger up here and that nice belly. Just like,
also, that forward portion of the belly, that forward portion of the blade with the belly, seems like it allows you a lot of time. That's where you're going to be using it the most, probably, and it seems like it gives you a lot of time and space to sharpen the knife over the life of the knife.
Definitely, and you have a nice long segment of straight edge as well. So really cool design, and you know, aesthetically, there's really nothing like it. So you want me to run through the variants?
Yeah, let's see. And then yes, please do.
All right, so let's start with the purple one. We'll go back to that real quick. You kind of ran it down, but I'll just rehash. So this is, we call it Cosmic Purple Kieranite. It's purple with, it's not exactly black in there. It's kind of coming through that way, but just different shades of purple.
Yeah. And
Kieranite is an acrylic, but it's got like almost like a sparkly effect to it. And it's really, really beautiful. So dark blasted titanium, hand rubbed blade, purple Kieranite. Call that version 1.
That Kieranite looks like diaphanous sort of curtains in the breeze at night in some like Greek temple in a movie.
Yes, it is very cosmic, you know,
so
we call it Cosmic Purple. All right. So then this is dark matter red with all DLC metal. Unique to this, and my light's not going to show it good, it's too kind of amber in this room, but there's a belt satin finish underneath the DLC. So if you get it in the right light, you can see the lines.
Yes. Angry Tom says sweet. Driving me nuts says the bass boat Benny.
So
yeah, you can see that the way you were just kind of turning it in the light. You could see
it's there. It's subtle, but it's there. And then the contrasting lines are going horizontal. So it has like vertical and horizontal satin underneath DLC. It's really cool. Like really, really cool.
I'm a big fan of that dark matter red.
And if you were going to splurge on one of these, how could you not get the shark skin exotic leather slip with Jack Wolf hot stamp and suede liners on the inside.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is
That's
like
sweet.
this is premium. This is the good stuff right here.
Is that green suede?
It's
Robert,
black.
oh, black. Okay. Robert Strevin says, do you have any plans for another fixed blade, Ben?
Yes, Robert. After the success of the first one, I went into high gear developing an entire product line of fixed blades.
Oh,
So
yes.
it's
Very
going to
cool.
take some time, but I like making them. You guys liked them. So, hey, that's a win. And I promise the factory likes them because they're easier to make for them.
Yeah.
So I think it's a win all the way around.
Doug Bowl says it has a 3-dimensional effect.
It really does. It almost looks layered. And I don't know, frankly, I don't know the voodoo in how it's made, but it definitely looks like it has depth. So yeah. So we'll show off a slip and then we'll show off a knife. So we did the purple.
Craig Henneberry. Yes, can't wait for those knives, he says. Craig, you will love them. They are absolutely sweet.
So we'll show off this.
Oh, look at that.
This is antique alligator. It's like glossy. And then on the back, and then brown suede on the inside.
That is so sweet.
I love these. I mean, I absolutely adore these things.
So is each one unique?
Every single one is unique. They're from the real hides. Like there's, they're all different. They're all different.
Awesome.
Especially the alligator ones, because they come from, the alligator's body has different size scales all over. The shark ones are very uniform. And then I'll show you another one here soon. So, okay, what are we doing next? Let's see. Let's do, oops, just dropped it. Okay. This is the full titanium variant.
Beautiful.
Starburst. We call it Starburst with bronze anodized screws. It's got texture, but it's not sharp. It's the same Starburst that was on the Midnight EDC or the Midnight Fixed EDC fixed blade.
Okay.
And this is our kind of original finish. So this has a stone-washed flats and belt satin bevel. Nice.
I love that Starburst pattern.
It's very attractive. There's nothing to not like. I don't think. I don't think you could ever make the case it's too much or it's uncomfortable. It just works.
Angry Tom says, I not only have a knife collection, I have a collection of slips. Those are nice. Where do I get one? You get one at
JackWolfKnives.com. On our website. The 3 bars that drop down the menu. There's one that says merch, and then under that, there's custom leather. So the next one we'll show you is this one. This is elephant. Yep, that's elephant.
Wow, man. These are who's making these?
So these are made by Piper Robertson of Robertson Leatherworks. She's out of Oklahoma. Her husband is Tim Robertson, and he's a high-end custom slip joint maker.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice.
And they're both at all the blade shows. Remind me, I'll introduce you, Bob. They're super nice.
Love
and
to meet them.
Piper is really talented. She not only makes slips, she makes like purses and all kinds of different stuff. Like she's talented. So this is elephant.
God, that's beautiful.
There's really nothing that looks like this. Like once you know what elephant looks like, it's very unique.
Yeah.
And it is cool. So that's elephant. Then this is the dealer exclusive.
Ooh.
From Knives Ship Free. That's camo carbon Boba Fett.
Nice.
And it has bronzed anodized screws and a blasted and tumbled finish on the titanium and the blade.
Yeah, I really like that blade finish, gotta say. What makes that Boba Fett? Is it the colors?
The colors, yeah. If you were to pull up a picture of his character, that's what it looks like.
He's got some really cool armor and stuff. I
Yeah.
know, that they had that whole show. Look at that. That looks sweet, man.
Yeah, it's neat. Very neat.
You know that if you've never held that kind of carbon fiber, or here I have this lava, what was this called? Mars
Mars
Valley.
Valley.
Beautiful stuff. If you've never held it before and you're just looking at it on video here or in Ben's hands, you might not like have an idea of what the texture is like, but this one is ultra smooth. It is so smooth. And to look at it, you might think you're going to feel all these little jagged edges or whatever, but it's so smooth. That's part of what makes this, I don't know. I love that material.
Yeah. And this stuff has that
Chatoyance.
Yeah, exactly. Fish scale, it's cool.
Yeah.
And there's some little bit of green in here, I think. But it's almost like a sage green. So it's hard to pick up in my lighting here, but it's in there.
Mhm.
So you
Yeah.
have like a sage green, kind of that burnt orange and yellow. So exclusively available at Knife Ship Free, made in smaller numbers.
Okay.
Camo carbon Boba Fett. And then let me show you another slip. This stuff, I'll show you two of these. This is called Shell Cordovan.
Shell Cordovan. Okay.
So Shell Cordovan. So this stuff comes from a horse, and it comes from, it's like connective tissue. It's basically like a tendon, like in the rump area.
Oh, nice. A butt
And
tendon.
it is, and it's highly luxurious. It's like shiny. It's smooth. And one of its most important features is it does not crease. So they make like shoes out of it. I'm talking top dollar shoes. And so, like when you're walking and you get the creases from when your foot, like, you bend at your toes, they won't crease. And
interesting. So how do these wear? I'm sorry, you're probably about to say, how do they wear around a knife?
I mean, you can really mash on them and like get anything to sort of, but I've had knives in these quite a bit, and they're super durable. They're super premium. I mean, this stuff's twice as expensive as regular leather, because the piece that comes out of a horse is not that big,
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So he's doing, like, these are getting foil stamped. So that black in there is foil stamped in. This one just has a hot stamp, but this is marble Shell Cordovan.
Shell Cordovan. Okay, I got to remember.
Shell Cordovan. And it comes from Italy. So nice, Bob. Like,
Brandon S says it's a super nice leather. The leather doesn't bend in sheath. It's tough. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Shell is awesome, says Driving Me Nux. Oh, okay. Not okay. Well, Driving Me Nux, nice to have you here. And now saying your name out loud. Love it. And also, I'm glad you're making Nux, because I like Nux.
So these are made by a gentleman named Taylor Cortez, and he's made several slips for me. I've got Shell Cordovan fixed blade slips on my website. They're like $200. They're not cheap. So if anybody really wanted to splurge and get like the nicest midnight fixed EDC sheath you could buy with the discreet carry concepts clips, I got them on the website. And I got these in like emerald green, purple, pink.
Yeah, the color on that magenta one is outstanding. It looks like it's not only tough, but it looks like it takes dye really well.
Oh yeah, they're called it's like a Riccardo leather, like some tannery in Italy. Like, this stuff it's best of the best. No expense spared.
I love it. Craig Vincent says those slips may change the status of the phrase horse's ass from being derogatory to a compliment.
100%, man. You're spot on. And then what I know you wanted to discuss a little further today.
Yeah.
The introduction of the Jack Wolf Knife Steel series. This is blue linen micarta. And this knife is different from the premium series knives I just showed you in several ways that we'll discuss. It has a belt satin finish.
That's beautiful.
It has 14C 28N blade steel. It has stainless steel integral bolsters and liners and stainless steel hardware.
God, that looks good. That spine looks so good, man.
You know what? It's the same fit and finish as everything else we do, but given the fact that there's no dissimilar metals,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the spine on these, holy cow, dude, they look like fixed blades. Look at that.
Yeah. That looks beautiful, man.
Yeah. Like even on the polished titanium knives, you still have dissimilar metals. So polished titanium has a different hue than polished steel.
Yeah.
So like the liners are titanium, the spring is steel, but this thing being all stainless, forget about it.
Yeah. It's like a solid block.
Yep.
So good.
Pretty killer.
I'm loving the micarta too. First of all, I love that it's made a comeback on the last few runs of knives.
Yeah, it was time to bring it back.
Yeah, but to see it here in this context, the steel bolsters look great too. I mean, everything about this looks awesome. So this is a way for someone to get a Jack Wolf knife more affordably, I presume.
That's it. So, you know, we care a lot about what we do. We listen to what people say, and you know, we're knife guys too. Like we pay attention to the market, and you know what? No one's dollar's going as far as it did in 2019 and 2020. Like we've had a lot of inflation, and everybody's, you know, getting strapped.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about what do I do to have a more affordably priced product. I don't want to say the word budget, and I don't want to say the word cheap, because I don't think these are either. And for me, and what we're all about, I think the most important factor is going to be quality. And you don't need to have the most expensive materials to have something be high quality. I think quality is going to first be sort of defined by the fit and the finish, like how it's built, the care and attention to detail in the construction.
Driving Me Nuts wants to know the Steel Series, Benny, looks great. Will there be Steel Series in every drop going forward?
Well, that's hard to answer simply because there's several drops going forward that aren't set in stone yet. I will say this. This is an experiment. This is not a hard commitment at this point. Just like the Gunslinger Jack was an experiment in a locking knife. Just like the Midnight Fixed EDC was an experiment in a fixed blade. Like I spend the time and effort developing a concept and bringing it to market, but I'm not going to bet the house on it. Because if this is something the community doesn't want, well, I don't want to, you know, let's dig that hole 5 feet deep instead of 50 feet deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if the community, if this resonates, we'll make these. I'm all for it, because at the end of the day, you know, my goal is a knife in every pocket. Let's face it. And the real satisfaction for me comes from when people buy the knives and are satisfied with the knives. And so if this is what people want to buy, well, that's my job to make them.
Brandon S. says it has to come from a humble businessman to make arguably the best model the most affordable. Ben is next level in quality and class. And
thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, like my goal with this was I was just, when we were developing it, I'm like, I really want to keep this at $200 or under. And you know, I probably should have charged a little more for this, but it's like, you know what? 200's the number. You know, why do 210 when 200's the number?
Yeah.
You know, like that really moves the needle. The premium series slip joint with all the bells and whistles and essentially no limits on materials at $300. How did we get to $200 on this? Let's talk about that. Well, number one, no titanium, no S90V. So you're saving a bunch of money there. And, you know, there's going to be a limit on what kind of handle material I can afford to do on these. Like you're not going to see fat carbon on these. It's too expensive. I can't do it for $200 with the top dollar handle materials. So my Carta works. You know,
Oh
I'll
yeah.
find other things that work. The list won't be as long.
If I
know?
may, if I
Yeah.
may interrupt, it's kind of like your Working Man series in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could call it like a blue collar series or something like that. But the analogy I came up with was like, okay, this is the Escalade, no
Hmm.
expense spared, all the bells and whistles, all the finishes, just, you know, anything you can imagine. And this is the Tahoe.
Yeah.
You know, they're both amazing trucks. They're made in the same factory. They're made to the same standard. It's just, you know, the Escalade's 25% more.
Hmm.
And you're paying for the best of the best leather, you know, bigger screen on the inside or whatever they get you for on the
Right.
Escalade.
Right.
But yeah, that's what it's all about. So, you know, these are heavier. You know, this one
Oh,
is
sure. Right. That's
about
going to
an
be a little
ounce
bit.
heavier than this one.
Huh.
You know, 3 to 4 ounce, like 3 ounces, 4 ounces. It's heavier. Some guys like that. You know, it's not a
That's
bad thing.
that steel is gonna. I mean, we're talking about the Benny's clip as being a very robust feeling knife. Well, that steel series is gonna, you know, I imagine it feels even more so, you know,
It
because of
does.
that added
It
weight.
does. You feel like it's 25% heavier. So, but it's 33% less expensive,
Yeah.
you know? So that's kind of where we were able to do it. And when it came to the blade steel, I did the research and I really like 14C28N. Like dollar for dollar, pound for pound, I don't know if there's something better. Until you know you get in the premium stuff, you're getting that, okay, maybe a 10% performance boost over something like this, but like, man, and this is essentially AEBL with like a little bit of extra edge retention is what I understand about it.
That's what
And
I've heard. Doug says, Ben, the steel series not only looks strong, but says super strong.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's got it. I agree, man. It's got more of a classic look. It looks, yeah, it looks like it's ready to work.
Well, this
Handsome.
in the pictures, before I read any information in the pictures, I was like, is that like dark blue micarta? Will B says 14C28N is one of my favorite steels.
It's
And
great.
but I love the look of that micarta next to the steel bolsters. The whole thing has a maritime look to me. This
Yeah,
that knife in particular.
yeah,
And
I
I
agree.
like that.
Looks like it's dressed up, ready to go
Y-
to dinner.
Yeah,
You know, someone
but
asked if this,
on a yacht though.
right,
Maritime
exactly.
aspect.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody asked you what?
Someone asked, will the Steel Series be a dealer exclusive or offered at all dealers? It is offered at all dealers. So you will have 4 choices at all dealers, 3 of them from the premium series, 1 of them from the Steel series. The purple, the black and red, and the full titanium are the premium, and then blue micarta is the steel.
And then the you got the ultra when it comes to the dealer exclusive.
Yeah.
Wait, can you put up Byron's comment real quick?
Excuse
Split
me.
and Slices says, maybe you said, Ben, is the Steel series going to be a deal? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That's the one you just answered.
Yeah, that's
You
okay.
brought it up. Thanks.
And then the other thing, and I forgot to bring it home, so you guys will have to forgive me for this, but the other place we saved money is packaging.
Oh,
So
okay.
your premium series has custom artwork, it has a pog, it has 2 stickers, it has a 12-inch by 12-inch microfiber, it has an included leather slip. It's a full kit, no expense spared, an art appreciation unboxing experience. So
Yeah.
I had to I was unwilling to make the sacrifices in the construction of the knife. So to hit $200, all that stuff had to go, which was the
Sure.
hardest sacrifice for me to make. But I listen to what people say, and that not everybody gets the same satisfaction out of that component of
Hmm.
the purchase. I mean, a lot of people, they're just buying the knife. I get it, you know,
Yeah.
I totally get it. So we save a lot of money. Like people don't realize that stuff is quite costly, all that packaging and that artwork. And then it just costs me a lot, and I buy everything in bulk. So by the time there's markup on it for me and for the dealers, it's substantial. So between a reduction in materials expense and a reduction in the packaging expense, we're able to take $100 off the price. And what you do get is a cardboard tube, very similar to Great Eastern Cutlery. In fact, Jim, why don't you pull it up on my website, because we can show folks. You get a cardboard tube with a generic label on the outside, and there's a spot on the label where we put a barcode sticker, and that barcode sticker has the model name on it and the colorway. So like blue linen micarta, for example. So that way I can go big on those tubes because they're a one size fits all. I can go big on the labels. They're a one size fits all. Inside the tube, the knife is folded up in wax paper, and there's a desiccant pack, and that's it. So, you're on your own for a leather slip. Of course, we've got them for sale on our website. We've got the expensive $100 exotic slips, but we also have $40 options, or you can buy the brown leather ones that come with the premium series for $20. It's that top left one is where you'll find the steel series, Jim. Back up at the top.
So, one of the comments was just saying, and I forgot who said it. Forgive me. But wait, hang on. Yeah. Brandon S. Sorry, Brandon, having a senior moment. In this economy, you can only be a collector at 300 for so long. 200 gets them back in the game and draws in a new crowd. Plus, better materials for secondary GEC prices.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 100%. And that's, go ahead and click the blue linen micarta one, Jim. So that did not escape me. I watch very closely what happens with Great Eastern Cutlery. And if you go to the last picture in that picture deck, or the second to last picture, there's a picture of the packaging. One up from there, and then I'll tell you what about that. So yeah, see, that's kind of what it looks like.
Oh, right, nice. There.
So yeah, just kind of very, very kept the cost down as much as possible. Very.
This is also a very, anyone who's bought a GEC before knows the satisfaction of popping open that tube and pulling out the wax paper. That's also a very gratifying experience.
Got to say thank you to Bill Howard, because I completely stole that from him. So
well,
credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
He probably stole it from someone else, but it's neither here nor there.
I think the wax paper is a very old thing.
Yeah, I think it's been around a long time. So I want to plug my website here. So with the introduction of the Steel series, we're now also selling direct. You could still buy from your favorite dealer, and I encourage you to if you have an existing relationship. But we'll now have our knives in stock the same day as everybody else on the drop.
Nice.
And what we're going to offer as a thank you from buying from us is a free leather slip. So I had Taylor Cortez make me a bunch of black leather slips, the same size basically as the brown ones that come with the premium series.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody, if you buy a Benny's clip, it doesn't matter if you buy the Steel series one or any of the premium ones, you're going to get a free black leather slip. So that means if you buy a premium series, you'll get the brown one that comes with it and a black one. So you can pick your color, make it match your shoes.
Yeah.
And if you buy a Steel series, at least you'll have a slip on day one, while supplies last.
That is cool. That's a great deal. Hey, why? Why? Oh, by the way, those mugs are so cool too. I love your mugs. But why did you wait until now to sell direct? Is that just a much more complicated thing for a newer company to handle? And now that you got your legs under you,
that's for a couple reasons. Like, the primary reason was if I could keep my customer base to the 25 or so dealers, then I did not have to focus nearly as much on the direct to customer relationship. I still have some direct to customer relationships, because if guys buy from a dealer but they need me for some reason, they reach out to me. But it's, not the same as if you're selling retail to thousands of people. So then servicing that customer from the minute they buy from you until after they receive it is a labor intensive process, not just the packaging and shipping and all that stuff, but the customer service that inevitably comes with it.
Yeah.
And the way I set the business up really was kind of centered around a bulk distribution model, to where I'm spending my time designing projects, pushing them through a research and development pipeline, and then ordering in bulk and processing things in bulk and then distributing things in bulk to stores. And then I could focus on keeping that ball going for as long as I could until it became super well refined. And then I started to have the time and resources to start to expand my capabilities. And now we have the capability. I have a team. I've got all my systems completely ironed out. And now I'm comfortable to take on the direct to customer relationship.
Fantastic. Doug Bull was saying, Ben, maybe you addressed this, but does the Steel Series have a beefier blade?
Same exact dimensions across the models, regardless of the series. You're just going to feel more weight in the Steel Series because of the replacement of steel from titanium.
Angry Tom says, what about challenge coins? Do you have any cool challenge coins?
We do. We've done 2 coin runs so far. The first coin run sold out, but we have our second coin still in stock on our website. I think we charge like $14, 14, something like that. They're super affordable. Check it out. Yep. There's a coin section on the website.
I think we just saw it. I think I saw it on screen because the one that I saw has that super pointy ears. The one on the left is the one that I remember.
Yeah, so the gold one is what we have now. It was to commemorate 20,000 Instagram followers. So it's a 3D coin. It's sweet.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, $14 with shipping. You're just under $20 if you're in the US. Really good quality.
I know a lot of people who have coin collections from service and law enforcement, but getting morale coins like this from your hobby is pretty cool to start, if you have a collection of these things to kind of integrate in. And I would imagine the pog thing is also, as I've mentioned before, pogs were after my time, so I didn't really understand it, but it's a cool addition to the packaging. And if you're a kid from the 90s, if you're a 90s kid, you know what a pog is all about. You probably already have a collection, and these are a nice addition. Wait, I want to talk about the artwork on this. It took me a second to realize that that's you.
Right.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. So what is this, your second artist, or do you change it up?
So what I've been doing is, for a first release, it's Sean Tiffany. And then on a re-release, it's Jay Gonzo. And like you can tell their styles are different. So Gonzo, he's a Mexican dude here in Phoenix. And so he does like these really cool Dia de los Muertos inspired art pieces. So when we started kicking around ideas, we've stuck with kind of like a skeleton version of me for anything that's Benny related. And he was like, man, I could do a really cool Dia de los Muertos skull. I was like, oh yeah, just have at it.
Angry Tom is ordering a coin right now.
Right on. Thank you, my friend. And look at this. This was the slip. We sold out of this was the most popular one. Of course, I thought to myself, man, this is probably a bridge too far for people. I just never know. So this is Blue Gator.
Blue Gator. God, that's gorgeous, man.
Yep, with silver thread. And this right here, this spot is where like the umbilical cord was on this thing. So it's like a belly button.
Damn. I didn't know alligators had belly buttons.
I didn't either. I learned something new that day.
That's cool. I like the way these slips, these custom slips, or the ones that I like how much they open. It's almost like
it's more so on one side than the other.
Oh, nice. That's
that's kind of one of Piper's signatures.
Yeah, so like you could put that in blade side out, or you could have your own, you get used to having your own way of doing it. But man, that blue is beautiful. Angry Tom says, yeah, it's cool. I have a Kershaw coin and I have a ZT coin and a couple of others. Oh, that's nice. So I guess a lot of the a lot of the knife companies do their coins. So it's time to upgrade into the Jack Wolf Knives coins and also mugs. I got to get that mug. I love that mug.
The mugs are great. They're Deneen pottery. They're so nice. I love them. We sold a bunch of those. We learned the hard way how to box them up because a couple of them broke in transit. I was like,
oh, yikes.
But you learn as you go. They're I mean, they're not super delicate, but you can break them if you drop them.
Craig Vincent says, I never got close enough to an alligator to notice. Oh, the belly button. Yeah, no kidding. That's a wise choice. So I brought out a couple of well, frankly, I brought out these Jack Wolf knives because they're easier for me with my cut thumb to open, but there we go. The folding locking ones. I brought an example of a few of them, and I just really it surprisingly carried this one like my main front right pocket EDC for the whole month. It was new to me. I was carrying that thing constantly, and it was a great summer knife as well because it's big and capable. And really, really super sturdy, but it's light as hell. And again, if someday in the future you do the Benny and you do it in the steel series, it will be all of that robustness and more, plus a little bit of extra weight, and that's kind of cool.
No doubt.
Look at that, man. That's beautiful. I love the colors in the Mars Valley. Well, so you said that you have thoughts about other fixed blade knives. What are your thoughts that you can reveal right now about that?
So here's what I'll say. When I approach these projects, we do test them in the market, but my plan is like, if this works, we're going to roll this out. And I've already thought about how I'm going to do that. So what you've seen so far is what you can expect, like that 6-inch total length EDC fixed blade. That's where I'm going to stay focused. It's very tempting to make them bigger because, intuitively you think, oh, well, the 4-inch handle and a 3-inch blade, it'd be the perfect size. It's like, yeah, it's really no longer pocketable as much as it was if you took an inch off it, So with a lanyard post like the fixed EDC had, and a 3-inch handle and a 3-inch blade and a leather sheath with a strong retention clip, it's a really nice formula that doesn't have as much competition as the small full-size fixed blades.
Yep. Yeah.
There's a ton of choices in that 7-inch total length and bigger.
Yes. Brandon S says, I've already drank mead, beer, water, cream soda, and hot tea from my Jack Wolf Knives mug. Very nice. I like mead the best. I don't know why I just made that sound. Mead to me, that's like Anglo-Saxon, right? Isn't that like you drink mead and then you heft a battle axe?
Yeah, exactly. Go out and raise some hell.
Exactly. The cool thing about the 6-inch overall pocketable fixed blade size is that it's about the size of one of your regular knives unfolded, except a little bit smaller.
Exactly.
And that makes it so that, so that it can be obviously open and in your pocket. Not open and in your pocket, but the length of this with like, but oh my God, what am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say.
The way it's a non-folding pocket knife. That's really what I was after, is like, I don't want it to be a belt riding fixed blade. The original, my original intent with this was, it won't have a pocket clip. It's going to be in a leather slip in your pocket, and it's only going to take up a little bit more room than that knife you have there has a 4-inch handle. So put that thing in a leather slip. Okay, well, what if there's just 2 inches of handle sticking up out of that leather slip, or 1.5 inches of handle sticking up? It's not going to bother you too much in your pocket, and then you'll have the utility of a fixed blade. That's what I really wanted to do. But the business side of me was like, Ben, look, most people are going to want to clip that on their pocket. you know,
Yeah.
just include the pocket clip with it and then put on your website clipless versions for the 10% of guys that want to carry it the way you do.
Yeah. I think that's a smart move. Craig Vincent says a new small fixie would be awesome. You can call it the Pocket Wolf.
Yeah.
You know what's cool too about your formula, the formula that you're talking about, 6-inch fixed blade, 3-inch blade, 3-inch handle in the, you know, the whole thing that you just laid out. You have an entire catalog that you can go to draw on, just thinking
That's
of
exactly right.
the big bro would be cool to see. The Venom Jack, any of them would be cool in that format, or given that treatment. Adrian Fighter 35, if I didn't greet you earlier, good to see you, man. Will we ever see a Junkie Jack collab knife? No, I think that well, I can't speak for you, but I think you are a singular design talent, and in your in your company, like I just don't see you collaborating, or maybe you do, but to me, I just see your vision is so strong in the Jack Wolf line. I just seems like you're a singular auteur, if you will.
Yeah, I would never say never, like I said, because I'm always trying to figure out where the expansion opportunities are from, but that's not been my focus. The focus has been roll out the premium line, which we did. We have premium slip joint knives, premium locking knives, and premium fixed blade. And then my thought process went to a less expensive slip joint. Okay, well, logically that translates into less expensive locking knife, less expensive fixed blade. Like anybody can see that path, but
Yeah.
the execution is the hard part. And it does not, none of this happens overnight. When did I start cooking up the idea of the Steel series? Clearly it was last year at some point, and then had to figure it all out. So we'll get there. So yeah, like collabing, like you're talking about, not there yet, but it'd be cool.
Huh, that's interesting. Not there yet. I mean, we've seen the growth of Jack Wolf knives from just an idea, and your methodical approach is, man, it's so admirable. And I just think people who really think that they want to start a small business, especially a small knife business, they should listen to the podcast that you and I have done, because you've revealed a lot of your way of thinking about things, your sort of methodology, and that's valuable information for people to have, because you were a successful businessman before you started Jack Wolf Knives. You already knew about business. You already had the love for knives. This is just you bringing it together into one of your great life's work. I'm not going to assume what the rest of your life has in store, but what I'm getting at is, if you have a knife company and or are a designer and want to cook up a good business, it would behoove you to listen to some of the things that you've talked about.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not the guy you come to ask about how do I make a knife from a bar of steel and a sheet of material. Like I'm not that guy. I can't educate you on that. But I am the person who you can talk to about how do I take this idea? What are the things I need to consider in order to make this worth spending my time doing? And what should I expect, from the business side of things? And, that's probably my strongest suit. I'm good enough designer. You'll never see me pat myself on the back for that side of it. I don't sit down and come up with knives that are so new and interesting that no one's ever seen. I tell people I iterate instead of innovate. I don't think I'm the most innovative person in the industry, but I do iterate on things and make them interesting and exciting all over again, or just find ways to take things that really turn me on and then put my own spin on them and make them fun for other people,
Yeah, it's like you're taking timeless things and just putting them in our time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
that's exactly right.
just because something's timeless doesn't mean it's gonna self-perpetuate. Still needs people like yourself to keep those things going. Jacob
Yeah.
Green, nice to see you. Before I get to Jacob's comment, I saw Mr. Henneberry, good to have you here. Said was putting a quote in your mouth, and he says, Ben, oh Craig Henneberry, sorry. Ben, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman.
That's it.
Belkin. That's your middle name. I like that. It's a good middle name. Jacob Green says, if there was a Jack Wolf knife called the lycanthrope that actually looked like one, I would give him a blank check.
I don't know how it would look like one. That's you got you got me puzzled there.
Well, interesting, and I don't know, maybe this is ironic. You have one called the Vampire Jack.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Driving me nuts says Ben cranks up the volume.
I do. I put my foot on the gas and I stomp it to the floor, and that's like
The speed I know, basically. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I mean, because yeah, that's awesome. You're not spending your time hemming and hawing. Oh, well, if only I had. Craig Vincent says, I see a franchise opportunity, the Jack Wolf School of Business.
Man, I'll tell you what, if you ever asked me, like, if money was not the thing, and let's say you just had $1 billion and you could just do whatever you want, what would you want to do? I would love to teach, not just like elementary school kids or whatever, but like talk about this kind of stuff all day with people. I could do this all day.
Ben, I've seen it a million times. There comes a time in everyone's life, especially those who have seen success, where they start giving back. You'll be Professor Ben at some point. It's just not now,
I try to do it even now with it's a two-way street. I mean, it's not totally selfless, honestly, but I'm friends with a lot of the younger guys in the industry. They're in their 20s, and it's cool because I learn from them what interests them. Like, what is your generation excited about? Like, the younger people are always cooler than the older people. It's just the way it works, and it's that way with music, and it's that way with, all that kind of stuff. So I make friendships with these guys, and I'll try to mentor them on, on the business side. Like, how do you think something through? How do we analyze this? How do we not make a irrational decision or an emotionally based decision? Not everything that's bad needs to get you ready to fight somebody,
Yeah.
So that's kind of my way of giving back, because in our community here, there's no like really let's go to school and learn how to run a knife company. There's just the shared knowledge. It applies to running the businesses, and it certainly applies to making the products.
Yeah, I mean, well, there are certainly plenty of places you can go to learn how to make a knife yourself as well. But yeah, to learn about the business side, it takes. I mean, frankly, and I'm not to toot my own horn, but it's you can hear a lot of interesting conversation about that aspect of it in the interviews we do, because it's always interesting to me that someone takes that dive into a place that I've only dreamt. Miranda Hastings, nice to have you here, Rainey. Hey guys, she says. Hey Ben, says Miranda. Can you go back to Brandon S's comment? Thank you. What would you say has been your most popular model and your least popular model? How would you improve upon your least popular model? And what is a lesson you've learned from it?
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Most popular model has been the Gunslinger, which I would never have guessed if you just said, hey, Ben, I'm going to rewind you back in time, a couple years here. What do you think is going to be your most popular knife? I would have never guessed, because the gun stock is a cool pattern for sure, but it's not everybody's favorite slip joint. The gun stock pattern, it's like one people like, but it's not the one everybody's got to have. Like, so that, and then translating it to a modern knife, it's like, man, we'll probably lose even more people with this thing. But for whatever reason, people freaking love the Gunslinger. So, hey, it makes me happy. Don't get me wrong.
Awesome. Yeah. I was assuming that it would be a Warncliffe. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
I'm with you. And it was just like the right place at the right time. Blade Show 2023 with that one. Yeah, Blade Show 2023. It was my first locking knife. It got a lot of attention at the show. A lot of the YouTubers were super stoked about it. So I just think we kind of lit the fire right to get enough of them out there, and man, word of mouth sent that thing going.
And one of the
So-
few models you put wood on, and I'm so freaking happy. I love the natural materials. I love that on this.
That knife came out great, and that's from the second production run. Like, we've had
Yeah.
2 gunslinger production runs, and the second one was a big run, biggest run I've ever done. And there's still a couple nebulas hanging around out there. That one was the one that, you know, there's always one that comes in last place. That was
Right.
that one. You never know. So most popular was Gunslinger. What would you say was your least popular? This is hard to discern for 2 reasons. Like, number one, the batches have gotten bigger over time. So you can't just like look at pure like percentage sold. That's not fair. Also, the market condition has changed quite a bit from when I started this. Like, when I started this, everything was selling. The secondary was on fire. You couldn't buy a Chris Reeve at retail to save your life.
Yeah.
Like, things were very different. Right now, Chris Reeve is in stock everywhere. The secondary market is 100% a buyer's market. Pretty much most things go on sale and are available for extended periods of time. So, you know, how do I judge this? If I had you hold me to the fire and say which one, I would probably say it was the low drag. Jack was one of the least popular we ever did. So that's the bullet end.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so why? Well, I don't know. I mean, I think one thing for sure, the dark matter yellow was not that well loved. It's just didn't work for folks. Like, I've learned that yellow is not as popular as blue. Let's just say that. Like, not everybody's into yellow.
Yeah. Yellow's a hard one.
Yellow's a hard one. And then the other color we did what the heck's it called? Fat carbon jungle wear. That's green. And green is another color that not everybody's into. The safe colors are blue and purple, and I would say followed by red. Those are going to be your safest colors. Beyond that, green, yellow, and what other colors are there? You know, there's not too many left. Like,
right.
Those people pass on those. And then we had 2 micarta offerings. So, and by that point in time, micarta was starting to fade for me a little bit. It was becoming less popular. Now, what lesson, what could I have done different, or what did I learn from it? Well, maybe it was a spear point thing. Like, I don't know that the modern knife guys who have been buying my stuff, because
Wait. But I'm sorry to interrupt you. And I know you're the expert on this. It's your designs, but I would say it's not necessarily the spear point thing, because your vampire jack is a spear point.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, that's a very popular model.
Correct. Now, but it's a very different spear point also.
Yes.
It's a very different spear point.
And what I really like about the low drag is how dramatic it is, how dramatic the downward angle of the straight is, how dramatic the belly is, and how bulbous that I love the overall shape of the blade. And I think it goes great in that. I'm not a spear point guy, but I love that. And I love the spear point on the vampire, and they're kind of extremes from one another.
I agree.
I think it's that middle line I don't like.
Yeah. And between the two, okay, let's accept the fact that people feast with their eyes and pretty much selling knives through pictures mostly, because these things are primarily bought online. And the sex appeal of the vampire, I think, trumps that of the low drag. Just the lines, just the angles of everything. The low drag, it kind of looks like it's kind of fat looking, it's not as sexy. Now, that's in the eye of the beholder, but that's what I've gleaned from what I've learned from others.
Yeah.
My best guess. So I also not the easiest one to pinch open because of the way the blade sits in the handle. So I'm not a huge easy open notch guy, but would it have done better with a small crescent moon shaped easy open notch? Maybe. I mean, it might have tipped the scales for some folks.
Yeah. Peterbilt knife guy, good to have you here.
But like straight edges and clip point blades, I find those to be the most appealing for my customers.
Oh yeah, I mean, and your Warncliffes and sheep's foots are really, really great. And I mean, I kind of assumed they were your most coveted blade shapes because they're so freaking useful, and they've been so popular for so long. The Warncliffes and sheep's foots. Miranda says, I have a question for Ben. Is Jack Wolf Knives always going to come out with a new model every month forever, or will you guys slow down after a while? It's very impressive how many models and how consistent you've been.
Yeah. So that's what, keeps me up at night, is figuring out how to keep everything new and interesting. So we, to be very specific here, we don't have a new model every month forever exactly. So for example, Benny's clip. Well, we did that in September of 2022. So 2 years ago, we had a Benny's clip. It's different in several ways. All the handle materials are different, blade finishes, blah, 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 but it's the same model. So we do have repeats. Takes the pressure off me to a degree there. But we're still doing unique releases every month, and I'll keep that up as long as I can. I'm already committed through the first quarter of next year. Like, I've made commitments through the first quarter of next year, and I've already mapped out in pencil all of next year, Yeah. And then I'm already thinking about 2026. Is really my head right now is in 2026. I don't live in the present, really. You can't,
yeah. Yeah. You got to have your ear to the ground. Sheep's feet. Yeah. I think sheep's feet is what you call it. Doug Bull says, Ben, if you could make a coat of arms.
I think he's meaning like a shield.
Yeah.
So I've tinkered with shields on these. I wasn't 100%. It's like, where does it go? Now,
yeah,
you've got the two screws. That's what's different about these.
And the pivot screw,
Yeah, it gets very busy.
Yeah.
It gets very busy. I don't prefer it. I don't prefer it. Could it be done? Sure. Am I doing it? Not yet. Maybe in the future, somehow, some way. Now, I saw that Driving Me Nuts, aka Trevor, corrected me. There was only one micarta low drag. Yes. And then the other low drag that I couldn't think of was the 80s camo carbon, and that one sold out really fast. It was the one everybody wanted from that run. So lesson learned there was everybody loves that 80s.
Byron says, so plump and not pinchable are least desirable. Huh. That's pretty
apparently. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So plump and yet not pinchable. Yeah, but the only one I've ever had trouble pinching open has been the Vampire, I believe.
The Vampire, not as easy to pinch. Some of these, like, people got to understand, not every traditional knife is easy to pinch open.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. The reason yours, even the ones that shouldn't be easy to pinch, is because of that high height hollow grind. Exactly. It creates that little pinchable T-shaped shelf almost,
Yeah, for the nail nick. And the nail nicks are super crisp. Mm-hmm. And if, like, anybody's handled knives from other companies, sometimes those nail nicks aren't really clearly defined around their edges. They're more like rounded over. Which is probably a little more comfortable for getting your fingernail in there, honestly. But like 95% of people with my stuff are probably using the nail nick to pinch on. And so the way it bites in your finger. Now that one is not in the hollow grind, it's in the flat, but it's bigger. So you can get all that thumb meat in that thing.
And the flat on this is pinchable also. Brandon S. says, a shield with the beard and the mullet, please. That would actually be awesome. I mean, it's some sort of shield that looks like this would be pretty cool.
Just a silhouette of me with the friggin' beard and the mullet.
That would be cool. And I agree with you. It would have to be on a model where you somehow address the screws, because it would be too many notes. It's like Rough Rider. Sometimes I'll put a shield, and then on the bolster they have an embossed Rough Rider thing, and then they've got like too many notes.
It gets very busy. It gets very busy.
I agree.
And here's the thing about shields. If you've ever had a nice custom slip joint or anything Riot's made, for example, like the shield inlays are so good. They're perfect, like perfect. And so even Great Eastern Cutlery shields inlays are freaking amazing. So they got to be right, or you just given another item for people to nitpick.
Yeah, and another knife for you potentially to have to send back. Like the shield on this isn't right. Someone thought it was right, but no, I'm going for perfection.
Yeah.
Hey, did you ever see or get your hands on the Stump knife by
The Stump Lifter?
Yeah,
Or
Stump Lifter.
Yeah. I have not handled one. So I remember the first release came out, and the one that caught my eye was the Yellow Bone.
Yeah, yellow and green. So who was it? I think maybe Jock's Knife. Bought one and had it sent here for me to check out before I sent it over to him, and it was cool. Now, first of all, I really like him, and I like that he designed that knife, and I like that it's the shield there is kind of based around his channel persona. The the knife itself is super wide, and it's two tools, but they're not really nested in together to kind of make it as slim as possible. It's sort of
Two
like
springs.
Yeah, two springs. But I mean, I've even seen like the use of two thinner springs and still having thinner blades that kind of cant in towards one another. And I know that's a whole other level of fit and finish. That's a difficulty. And I know you and I have talked about the possibility of double bladed, double tooled knives sometime in the future. And it seems like that is an aspect that just, how you nest those blades in there and make it worthwhile. Just seems like
if you want to have a single spring, now you're talking about non-symmetrical grinds, and
right.
we're talking more money for sure. We're talking added weight. We're talking probably not pinchable anymore. One of them maybe, but not both. And you're talking about a smaller audience inherently.
I was going to say less appeal too. Less appeal. I think what you've really something that you've really nailed with Jack Wolf knives and the whole lineup is that each one of these single bladed knives really highlights the ergonomics of the traditional style handle that they're using. I have the, what is it? The 44? No, the
44.
Is it the 44? The
So.
double bladed GEC.
The gun stock.
The gun stock. You cannot feel that because the pen blade obscures the. So anyway, each one of these Jack Wolf knives really highlights the ergonomics, the traditional ergonomics of the pattern, and I love that. Especially, this knife, like you said, you didn't think it was going to be a hit, and I guess other people like it for that reason too.
Absolutely. And anytime I've bought a multi-blade knife is because I wanted to appreciate all that went into making the multi-blade knife. It's not because I wanted the utility of two blades. I don't need the utility of two blades. It's just for like the heritage of it.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
I was just reading the comments.
Jay, the Knife Junkie, or the Knife Junkie at gmail.com. Send me your address. I've had that knife burn in a hole in my pocket, so I need to send that to you. Let me know what your address is. Miranda says, Ben,
I'll buy one for sure. Right on, Miranda.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
And the Mini Cyborg was a hit. That was an awesome knife. And I have that one in titanium, which is so sweet.
Yeah, that looked good. That had hand satin and purple screws.
Yeah. Doug Bolt, Ben, if you would get a book on heraldry, it shows how what color works with each other in knighthood. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not educated on those matters, but you know what? Me and Donnie sometimes we're talking about colors and stuff, and it's like, yeah, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel on that kind of stuff. Pull up all the professional sports teams, see what colors they put together. Pull up universities, see what colors they put together. People spend a lot of money and time with focus groups to get that kind of stuff right. you know.
That's right.
And I'm sure, like he's saying, you could go back in history and look at, you know,
Coat of arms,
knighthood. Yeah, exactly.
Miranda said the Gunslinger Jack is her favorite knife in her collection, or one of her favorite knives in her collection, and that the locking cyborg would be dope.
Right on. I appreciate the suggestion.
Agreed.
This is a really interesting question, Craig. I'd be pleased to answer it.
He says it can be hard to shell out. Sorry, it can be hard to shell out $300 for a knife you've never handled. Brick and mortar shops are scarce in some areas. Would you ever consider deals with national retailers like some premium brands do? Oh.
Yeah, I like this question. So first of all, let's talk about brick and mortar stores. Yes, it is unfortunate that they are so few and far between. It's just the nature of online shopping convenience has created that situation. Now, we are in some brick and mortar stores already. Like, you probably have to drive to get to one, depending on where you are. But River's Edge Cutlery in Columbus, Ohio, they're one. I think Blade HQ has retail in their Utah location, and they'll bring stuff out for you. They also have a Virginia warehouse.
Yeah.
Who else has brick and mortar? Tired, but I know there's a couple. GP Knives in Illinois has brick and mortar. There's a guy named Springfield EDC. He's buying small quantities from me. He's in Springfield, Missouri. I'm in a small shop in San Antonio, Texas right now. I'm in Oklahoma City. That's a brick and mortar store. I'm in Freight and Lock in upstate New York. She hasn't bought from me in a little while, but she still has some older models. Like, there's places you can go see these things.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Now, all that being said, the question about the national retailers. So I actually did a deal with Sportsman's Warehouse. They have, I don't know, 250 locations nationwide. They're a big box, similar to like a Bass Pro Shops. Man, it's a mixed bag dealing with those guys. And I'll tell you why. So, okay, right now I'm dealing with what we would see as big retailers: Blade HQ, Knife Center, DLT. They have a retail store too, DLT in Wisconsin. These still like family owned private businesses. Like, these aren't publicly traded companies. You know, these are run by and owned by, run by knife people. They understand the customer. They understand the product. I'm able to talk to a decision maker. I could pick up my phone and get a hold of who I need to get a hold of, usually immediately. It's really nice from a business to business standpoint. It's a small, tight knit community. It's knife focused, and it's not big business. It's niche. Okay, then I go do this deal with Sportsman's Warehouse. I'm talking to a guy who has a boss, whose boss has a boss, who doesn't talk to the accounting department, who doesn't talk to the shipping department. They send me 400 pages of documents, no help filling anything out. They make me have insane levels of insurance coverage. It was like, and I'm good at navigating that kind of stuff, man. And it was like, holy shit, is this ridiculous for what it's set up for? A system like, okay, they deal with like Ruger and Smith and Wesson.
Yes,
and
yeah,
like
right.
You know, like huge brands that
Giant.
produce tens of thousands of units. All their systems are integrated. I don't have that.
Yeah, they have a whole department to look at that document.
Exactly.
Brandon S says, my dream would be a Jack Wolf Knives multi-blade drop point and spay blade steel series with Sandvik. Oh, baby.
That would be like a classic drop point and spay. What combines a drop point and spay? Like, usually it'd be a clip point and a spay, but
yeah,
man, who knows? Like, I always think squeaky wheel gets the grease around here.
Civivi just moved to Walmart, but those are mass produced. Couldn't get that quality with batches of
No, and I mean, if anybody was going to make the leap from like our niche community into Walmart, it would be Civivi. Or
yes, exactly.
You know, like they've grown to be that big. And the other part that was bad about Sportsman's Warehouse, what was good, because all of a sudden my stuff is in all these locations. Like, that was cool. Don't get me wrong. But they had these things in retail cases everywhere. So they're getting handled and dropped and scratched up, you know, snail trails. Yep. And then someone would buy offline and they would just pluck one out of the showcase at a store and ship it. So then the customer gets it. It's like, why is my box all smushed? Why is there a freaking price tag sticker on my carbon fiber? Why is there snail trails all over this? And it's like, well, I don't even know who to talk to over there to get you help. Yeah. And good luck with their 1-800 number, getting you talking to someone in India, you know? So.
All right, man, as we as we wrap here, tell everybody the information they need to know about the new Benny's slip.
Right.
Benny's clip. I'm sorry.
So next Friday, the 13th, grab your hockey mask and your machete. Friday the 13th, we are releasing internationally the Benny's clip. This is the second release of the Benny's clip. It's available at all dealers in 4 versions, 3 of them from our premium series, 1 of them from the new steel series. The premium series knives in the United States are $299.99, and the steel series knife is $199.99. The premium series knives will come with all the bells and whistles, custom artwork, metal tube, leather slip, cleaning cloth, POG stickers. The steel series knife, you'll get just the knife and wax paper in a cardboard tube. If you buy direct from Jack Wolf Knives, we're offering a free US-made leather carry slip you'll get with any Benny's clip purchase and free shipping. If you don't want to buy from us or you have an existing relationship, you can shop any of our authorized dealers. The list is on our website. We're not only at all the major US dealers, but we're in Europe, Australia, Canada. You're not going to have trouble buying one if that's your intent. And if you need anything from us, I got a full-time guy, Donnie. He's in the chat. You can email us at support@jackwolfknives.com. Reach out to us on Instagram. You'll get either him or me. And we have a Facebook group. We love people joining our group. It's called Jack Wolf Knives Worldwide. Worldwide is one word. We have over 2,000 members. Several of them are here in the chat right now. Nice. And we got a lot of enthusiastic collectors. If you're looking for a real good deal on one of these, we have a buy-sell trade thread that's ongoing. Really good secondary prices right now while the secondary is what it is.
Awesome. Donnie says, if you buy from our site, I will personally pluck a hair from Ben's mullet and include it in the packaging.
I'll tell you what, Donnie, if I ever cut my mullet off, we're going to save it, and you're going to put one hair in every outgoing package.
Oh, that's great. Or one lucky person gets a really nice lanyard. Ben, thank you so much for coming on and talking about this tonight. It's always awesome to see you and talk with you, but and it's always great to come home from work and see one of those beautiful white boxes. Like, oh yes. I just put my unboxing up today, and well, there will be a more broken down video with lots of comparisons coming up. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for coming and joining us. Be sure to join us on Sunday for episode 534 with James Rodabaugh. He's awesome. Master bladesmith and ABS instructor. And yes, another Marine making knives, man. It's their birthright. We have an awesome conversation, so join us then. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until next time, don't take dull for an answer.